Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashum, Yahushua, Bahashum, Rakakwadash. I want to give double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well in grace and peace, to you elect around the four winds, believing and pushing His truth in all sincerity. May the blessing of election be upon your houses. This is your fellow servant, Rakoya from the GMS Orlando camp, coming at you with another impromptu lesson. Tonight, I want to get into this interview I caught earlier this week, and it's from the Sean Ryan Show, and it's entitled Ryan Montgomery, Hacker Exposes Roblox, Minecraft, Discord, and the Darkest Online Code. And, there's some very beautiful information that comes from this interview. I encourage you to watch it for yourself, especially those of you Akim and Akwap who might have children who might frequent these different platforms. But nonetheless, there's a lot of, information in this interview regarding the wickedness that's being perpetuated by way of the internet. And we understand that the internet was conceived to bring forth prophecy, and it's also had its different, many different purposes here throughout the years, but the internet, also known as the unicorn in the scriptures, was conceived to bring forth the word of salvation and mercy to the elect who are scattered throughout the four winds of the earth, and also to bring forth the sound of judgment to the nations. And it was also conceived to bring forth comfort, correction, doctrine, and reproof to the churches here in these latter days by these modern day epistles. And throughout the years, we've also seen the internet be used as a tool, especially nowadays, to expose the wicked, chiefly Esau Edom, the so-called white man, and all of the devices that he's, came up with throughout these many generations. These secret councils, these secret devices are now being brought to the forefront, through the unicorn that the Lord created, through this internet. And the Lord is causing essentially their own creation to aid them in their own downfall. And now we're starting to witness, as we transition from faith to faith, and as the battlefield is shifting, we're starting to see the Lord allow Esau Edom to use the internet as a tool to gain more power in the earth, to forward his enterprise regarding the mark of the beast and his control over the populace. And I just want to get into a couple of precepts, and we might play a couple of minutes of this interview. Lord wants us edifying unto your elect. As I was watching it, there are a few points, that I really wanted to touch on. But as you can see, the video is 5 hours and 26 minutes. It's very long. I had to watch it over the course of a couple of days. But we just gonna hop straight into it. I wanted to get this here in Malachi, the 4th chapter, because the Lord has allowed Esau Edom to deeply embed his roots into the whole planet. The Lord has allowed the so-called white man to spread his roots and to spread his wickedness throughout the four corners of the earth. And the only way that this can be purged is by fire, is by the vengeance that Yahushua is coming with. This is Malachi 4 and verse 1. It says, "For behold, that day cometh, that shall burn as an oven, and all the proud, yea, all that do wickedly shall be stubble. And the day that cometh shall burn them up, saith the Lord of hosts, that it shall leave them neither root nor branch." And the Lord said he's coming, to leave the wicked neither root nor branch. Meaning this whole system, this whole beast system is going to be uprooted by Yahushua upon his return. And that's the way that things need to be. You go into this interview, man, this fucking interview gets into a lot of the wicked, grimy shit that Esau Edom continually perpetuates, not only on throughout the internet mainly, but not just throughout the internet, throughout the school system, throughout the music, throughout the different the so-called educational programs, through the entertainment, through the foods. There's a constant pumping of wickedness within the society. And at this point, if you don't see it, you're a part of the problem as well. You're a part of the disease that the Lord is coming to cut off, pursuing the Ecclesiasticus or Sirach, the 10th chapter and the 10th verse. You're a part of that disease, man. And this interview really gets into a lot of that wicked shit, that Esau Edom is utilizing upon the internet, really to groom and to beguile these different children, get into the minds of these children, in which children are essential for society. That's the next age. That's the next workforce. Those are the next judges, priests, potentially. But in this world, children are victimized. They're preyed upon. And you even have some men of the household of Israel who call themselves the household of Israel, who try to link brothers, to this type of wickedness, man, to this type of madness. Calling brothers PEDOs, because we bring out the law in Deuteronomy on how things were dealt with, on how GRAP was dealt with back during the ancient time. Just like there's a law today on how to deal with GRAPE, there was a law in our laws during the ancient time on how to deal with it as well. And you have niggas who are linking us to this type of fucking madness. And you best believe every idle word is going to be accounted for. Let me get that. This is Matthew chapter 12 and verse 36. But I say unto you, and this is Yahushua speaking, that every idle word that men shall speak, they shall give account thereof in the day of judgment. All right, and a lot of you men, a lot of you niggas who have tried to place this stigma upon brothers who are teaching in sincerity and in truth, you're going to have to account for all those idle words that you've taken against the Lord's men. And you're going to eat every single one of those fucking words. Here it is, you have men who are victimizing the Lord's sheep, merchandising the Lord's sheep, taking advantage of sincere souls, and blaming us, the household of faith, for being of the household of faith. Yeah, fuck you niggas, man. And the video ain't even about these niggas. But they still got to be touched on, man. But going back to Malachi, the 4th chapter, I'm going to read it again in the first verse. It says, For behold, the day cometh that shall burn as an oven, and all the proud, yet all that do wickedly shall be stubble. And the day that cometh shall burn them up, saith the Lord of hosts, that he shall leave them neither root nor branch. All right, and what needs to happen to this Babylonian society is a complete uprooting of the system that's been set in place. A complete uprooting of what Esau Edom has established in the planet Earth. And it's beautiful because simultaneously as the Lord is in the process of uprooting this wicked kingdom, we're also in the process of the righteous seed being planted in the earth as we speak throughout the remnant. The remnant is starting are acting as that that righteous seed being planted in the earth. Those who are sticking up and fighting against the evildoers according to the will and the word of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. And as we do that through the spirit of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, the light of the wicked is being put out. This is Job chapter 18 and verse 5. It says, Yeah, the light of the wicked shall be put out, and the spark of his fire shall not shine. And really we understand that the light that the wicked proclaims to have really is just gross darkness. But because this world is so void of truth and so void of understanding, they believe this darkness to be light. And now men have chosen this darkness over light because that's really all that they've known. But the Lord has called a remnant out of this shit, which is beautiful. The Lord has called a remnant out of gross darkness to see the true light. And as the true light is being proclaimed and is being heralded, all right, the light of the wicked, so-called, is being put out. Faith and truth, which has been so long without fruit, is now starting to flourish. It says in Job 18:5, Yeah, the light of the wicked shall be put out, and the spark of his fire shall not shine. The light shall be dark in his tabernacle, and his candle shall be put out with him. The steps of his strength shall be straightened, and his own counsel shall cast him down. And right now, the counsel of the wicked is casting themselves down. The Lord is causing an internal destruction to happen to America, Babylon the Great, and these Edomites. They're destroying themselves. The sword is falling upon their own rib. They created the internet to forward and promote wickedness, seemingly in their own mind. But in the process, the Lord has allowed the internet to be a tool to expose their wickedness, and not only to expose their wickedness, but to bring the remnant to the light, and to bring comfort and understanding to the remnant in the midst of these these dark times. And now they're exposed on a worldwide scale. And in this interview, it gets into how
today's guest is
It gets into how, this is a worldwide scheme. This is a worldwide scheme. This is something that's not only happening in America, Babylon the Great, but it's happening all over the world. And it stems from Babylon. It stems from this great whore. They're getting into how this satanic cult called 764 or something like that on the internet was created by this 15-year-old Edomite in Texas. And from what he created, it stemmed to now a lot of children being groomed on these different platforms such as Roblox, Minecraft, Discord, Twitch, Snapchat, and these different social media outlets. And so now, not only are children being cornered in the streets by these different offenders, but now they're being cornered on these online platforms, which is this is why the Lord has to uproot this wickedness, man. The type of society that we live in is not normal. This shit is not normal. The type of society we live in is unsustainable. Life cannot be sustained in this type of society, which is why the Lord said here in Matthew 24th chapter, in the 22nd verse, it says, "And except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. Before the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened." All right. So the Lord is shortening the days for our sake. These weeks are truly going by quicker and quicker. Just speaking for myself first and foremost, man, these weeks are going by fucking quick. And it's all according to the spirit of Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai. The Lord is speeding the times up. He's speeding these prophecies up. And really, we're only one major catastrophe away from prophecy getting the ball rolling, man. One major hack, which this interview goes into, all right, the hack that from China, supposedly, that almost went down in Washington State, I believe, in September. It gets into that a little bit. But we're only one major hack away, one major false flag away, all right, from complete hell being unleashed upon Babylon. Thus saith the Lord. We're close, and the Lord is shortening up the days for his elect's sake, because this society is contagious. It's contagious, which is why Micah 2:10 tells us to arise and depart. It's really speaking about mentally and physically. Mentally and emotionally, and spiritually from this place, because this is not our rest. It will surely pollute you. And we've seen how throughout the years, those who have been void of understanding, how this world has slowly but surely sucked them in to its beguile. Even men who so-called proclaim to be in the truth, who weren't of the household of faith, who didn't operate in understanding, true understanding. We've seen how over the years this world has beguiled them, and they've been sucked in to the wiles of the devil and the wiles of this world. We live in a diseased society. This is Sirach, or Ecclesiastes 10. In verse 10, it says, "The physician cutteth off a long disease, and he that is today a king, tomorrow shall die." And that long disease is not only 2/3 of our people, but it's mainly Esau, Edom. All right, this disease that is plagued the world. Everywhere you go into the land of Moab, you go into the land of Ishmael, of Elam, some remnant of Esau, Edom's twisted and warped mentality and philosophy It's present, no matter where you go. Which is why, again, the Lord said in Malachi, the 4th chapter, he shall leave them neither root nor branch. Because the so-called white man has deeply embedded his roots throughout the 4 corners of the earth, not just here in Babylon. I'm going to jump up to verse 2. It says, as the judge of the people is himself, so are his officers. And what manner of man the ruler of the city is, such are all they that dwell therein. An unwise king shall destroyeth his people, but through the prudence of them which are in authority, the city shall be inhabited. All right, and an unwise king has proceeded to destroy, all right, and to dismantle the world and the people that are therein. But the beauty is, a part of the gospel is that the Lord is raising up the judges is at the first, pursuant to Isaiah, the 1st chapter. All right, those judges who have their mind and their spirit and their being occupied in prophecy, like it says in Sirach, the 39th chapter. Because when you read on in Sirach, the 39th chapter, it tells you that those men who are occupied in prophecy are going to be those who sit amongst great men. Matter of fact, let's get it. All right, it details, all right, what the men who are occupied in prophecy are going, their lot, you know. Sirach 39 and verse 1. But he that giveth his mind to the law of the Most High and is occupied in the meditation thereof will seek out the wisdom of all the ancient and be occupied in prophecies. He will keep the sayings of renowned men, and where subtle parables are, he will be there also. He will seek out the secrets of the grave sentences and be conversant in dark parables. He shall serve among great men. It's like, excuse me. Verse 4 again, it says, he shall serve among great men and appear before princes. He will travel through strange countries, for he hath tried the good and the evil among men. He will give his heart to resort early to the Lord that made him, and will pray before the Most High, and will open his mouth in prayer and make supplication for his sins. Check it out. When the great Lord will, he shall be filled with the spirit of understanding. He shall pour out wise sentences and give thanks unto the Lord his prayer. He shall direct his counsel in knowledge, and his secret shall be meditated. He shall shew forth what he hath learned, and shall glory in the law of the covenant of the Lord. Many shall commend his understanding, and so long as the world endureth, it shall not be blotted out. His memorial shall not depart away, and his name shall live from generation to generation. All right, and these are all they who give their mind over unto prophecy, or who are occupied in the prophecy and the will and the dark sayings, the parables, and the understanding of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. So going back to chapter 10, it says, an unwise king destroyeth his people, but through the prudence of them which are in authority, the city shall be inhabited. The power of the earth is in the hand of the Lord, and in due time he will set over it one that is profitable. All right, and we're coming into that time now, to where one that is profitable, speaking about Yahushai, is going to be set over the planet Earth. And under Yahushai is going to be King David and 144,000 governing body of the world to come. This world is in desperate need of true governance. The minds of the people need to be governed properly. And the Lord gave us that standard from the foundation. We didn't appreciate it, which is why we're in the state that we're in now. All right, but we're learning why and how to appreciate it. And in the appreciation of the Lord's standard will come righteousness, will come prosperity, will come justice and judgment. And it's going to proceed first from Yahushai, our Lord, our King. You know, but let me see. Let me just play a little bit of this. I don't really know where I left off, so bear with me.
4 hours after releasing this and doing a cease and desist, the guy Schlepp went very public with the media. Chris Hansen, I'll show you a picture with it, but before I show you the picture, there's a ton of Charlie Kirk assassination.
Do before
Which, I'm not V-Bucks, I'm sorry, Robo.
to watch their own kids. That's
Yes.
what this is.
And they're too lazy to watch their own kids, and they think that it's not going to happen to them, and their kids are smart enough to not fall into this trap. And I can't understand why you would even let your child play the. sexual type of activity, admonish for suicidal ideations, all of those things. I have no partnership in Bark. I just like their company. I think they do a great job.
Yeah, it was a part I was watching where it got into a little bit of the information, regarding some of the wickedness that is being perpetuated on the internet, to target these children. And you can watch it for yourself whenever you get the time. I'm pretty sure I'm not gonna find it. It's once again, it's 5 hours of material, so whenever you get the chance, check it out for yourself. But this interview really gets into a lot of good information, regarding the wickedness that's being perpetuated in this society. And it also gets into prophecy as well, going into the shutdown of phones, and the telecoms, and how that's going to affect society, because most of the people, here are reliant on their phones. We ourselves are reliant on our phones. Really, all the business that we conduct, and some brothers' livelihoods are conducted through the phone. So when all that is shut down for the people of this world, it's going to cause a great state of chaos. Like 2nd Esdras the 15th chapter says, then sedition is going to be set in full effect. Then people are going to truly show their true spirits and colors for who the Lord created them to be, which a lot of these people are just spirits who are created for vengeance, waiting for their time. Babylon is a ticking time bomb. A lot of the people who inhabit Babylon are ticking time bombs, and it's only a matter of time. It's only a matter of time. But this has to happen in order for the Lord to establish justice and judgment in the earth. We're in the midst of a very beautiful process of the transition of kingdoms. And we desperately need Yahushua to come and take over, because this wicked shit has proceeded for too long. With that being said, that's all I had, Lord. Once that financial elect, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashum, Yahushua, Bahashum Makakudash, and double honors to our apostles and elders, the great millstone who rule well. Grace and peace to you elect around the four winds, believing and pushing is true in all sincerity. Shalom. Stay up.